I have a question. Analytics
Sure.
software built on SOA. What does this mean?
See, for example, you have a requirement, right, saying that I want to, have this report in this way, right? So that the requirement comes from the top executive. So that is called a request, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So now all the business intelligence tools nowadays will be mature. They are very much mature, and as you know, there is a framework, service-oriented architecture framework, right? So all the softwares will follow those standards, so that they can their softwares will be scalable,
Mm-hmm.
and it can handle all kind of requests which may come in future, because everything is XML based.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the framework they have used and built based on that. You got it right?
Well, SOA, for me, if you say SOA, it's a product of Oracle.
What is that?
SOA?
So I'm talking about service oriented architecture, right?
Yeah.
So So the product vendor might be following a architecture which can cater the request, and it could the product would be more scalable if you use particular architectural framework, right?
Mm-hmm.
So SOA is the one of them, and Cognos is built on top of it.
Cognos is built on top of SOA.
Right.
Okay.
All right, and Cognos has a lot of capabilities. So a business user or its capability will provides you deeper insight of the business that you are doing, or the data that you are analyzing, and so that it helps in decision making. So this will have a lot of visualization methods, like you can analyze the data by tabular views, charts, combination of them. You will have heat maps, a lot of things integrated with the Cognos now in Cognos 10. So it has a lot of enhanced uh, objects in terms of data visualization.
Mm-hmm.
You can access Cognos reports through your mobile, Apple phones, or BlackBerry, right? You can access the Cognos Business Intelligence reports. So you have a product called Cognos Mobile. So we need to install that Cognos Mobile product, and then we can access these reports. But without Cognos Mobile product also, because Cognos is a web-based tool, you can access through your browser. It requires a
That
browser.
can be accessed also on iPad.
Sorry?
iPad.
But yeah, see, wherever you access internet, if you have a browser, you can
Mhm.
access Cognos.
Okay. But it's not dependent on, uh, let's say, a client wants to display a report using the iPad. You get the URL and everything. It doesn't require Cognos installed on their machine, right?
No, not required.
Um, but it's not interactive.
It could be interactive, because how for example, if you through your iPad, if you are trying to log in your bank website, what will you do in that? Right, you will do the transaction, everything you can do, right?
Uh, yeah.
So same, Cognos also, you can launch the reports, you can run the reports, you can do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, but why I am saying Cognos Mobile is you have a Blackberries and you have iPhones, right? So
Mhm.
if you have a service provider, agreement, and if the service is enabled, then you can download Cognos reports and you can view them offline using your mobile devices. Okay,
Okay. Mhm.
and sometimes when you schedule the report will host in the Apple service provider servers or BlackBerry service provider servers, so that it will use the you know push technology, so that the reports will be pushed to the mobiles.
Okay.
All right, so this is the spectrum of tools that FBI has. So Cognos 10 will have a window-based and web-based components. So components in the sense we are talking about the tools, softwares, right?
Mhm.
So within the Cognos BI suite, we'll have different components. One is a window-based, and the other one is a web-based. So when you say window-based component, the Cognos will have a framework manager that is a metadata modeling tool
Mhm.
which will be used to create a semantic layer which is required to create the reports using web-based components,
Okay.
right? So
Mhm.
framework manager is a window-based utility, or you can say the tool or a software application where you can create a relational models and the dimensional models, and
Mhm.
together you can create a semantic layer which is required for building the reports, right? So here I have depicted this like a couple of boxes. They are linked together, so each box is replicates a table or view in the relational database, and they will have a joins between them. So this is kind of a schema that we will create in the relational models,
Do you
right?
have, can it also mix up the relational model and dimensional model
Together, yeah, you can,
together?
you can, yeah. But sometimes we need to follow the best practice, right? So
Mhm.
the best practice says that you can include both the relational models and the dimensional models, but when you are using it, make sure that you bring them to the same level. Either you can make them to the relational functions or relational way of using it, or bring them to the relational level.
Mm.
So
Okay.
you cannot, because the software, business intelligence software tools like the studios, when you use the, and when you customize, or when you format the data, you have to use certain functions, right?
Mhm.
So relational will have a separate functions. Dimensional models or the cube kind of models needs to use a different kind of functions, right?
Mm.
So those two functions will work differently. So you cannot club those two functions together.
Okay.
You got it right.
Mhm.
So when we say relational functions, so it will basically work with the SQL,
Mhm.
structured query language. So the queries generated by Cognos will be your SQL only, right? But when you work with the DMR or cube models, the Cognos uses MDX. So both are different scripting languages. So you cannot club them together.
Mhm.
So what you need to do is you should bring to one consistent format. Then you can use it. But you can publish both the models together to Cognos report authors, or for report development purpose.
Mhm. So in your experience, which one do you use most?
I
Dimensional?
use I use both. It depends, right? So for example, user wants to analyze the data. Take an example of your geography, right? So a business spread across the world, right? And the business depends on their geography. They have divided the regions so that they can manage their business easily. For example, this, Asia Pac, India, China, all these countries will come. So if you divide your business by geography, right, it will be very helpful to handle the business, right, rather than combining them together and analyzing the information of entire world information, right? So how the business will do is, what they will do, for Asia region, they will keep one head. So they will say that, boss, you can go ahead and control the Asia business, right? And another guy will go to the European Union, so he will be handling the European Union business. But these two guys will be working with the global organization, right? The topmost CEO along with the chairman. So that is a demographic separation. It is a one entity, but it has been separated by geographies. Okay, so within that region, you will have countries like India, China, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Japan, right? So these kind of countries you have. And if your business is spreaded inside the country, like states, right? So you will have various states in each country. And you want your business is spreaded to the cities, then you will have, in one state you may have multiple cities where your business operations are, like take a KFC or McDonald's, right? So these franchise or outlets might be spreaded across different cities, right, within the states. So if you want to get the business, or if you want to analyze the business, so you need to have from top level to the bottom level. The bottom level will be your city. The top level will be your region, right? So in one region, you have 4 or 5 countries, right? Data consolidated by all 5 countries will be, aggregated up to the region level. Data consolidated by all states within the country will be aggregated at the country level.
So are you going to create, so you're saying you create a database with those kind of information using to create cubes?
No, we will not create. The information will be there, right? That's how
It's already there. It's already there.
It's there. But you will be viewing it in that manner,
okay,
right? So because the business users say that, see, I want to analyze the region information first. I have 4 regions, or 3 different regions, like Americas, Europe, and Asia Pac. I want to analyze a summary level at this region level. But when I need it, if I want to click it, it should display the countries under that region and their data. So that is the requirement. So when we click it, we have to display the detailed data of that particular region. Then it is technically we call it as drill down.
Yeah, drill down. Okay.
Right. So when if you want to have this kind of behavior, you have to go to DMR or cube. You got it?
What does DMR means again?
It's a dimensionally modeled relational, right? So we will have a data in the relational databases. We will view the data in the multidimensionally, where it will give you the options for drill up and down, slice and dice, all these features.
Okay.
But the data will be in the tables only, like a star schema or snowflake schema. You will have a dimensions and fact tables. You will use them as a source, right? But you will display them as a multidimensional hierarchical format.
Okay.
Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so the same thing we will do in transformer as well. Only thing is the tools are different. One DMR you can create in framework manager, but the cubes you can create in the transformer.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference between these two is DMR should always connect to the database,
Mm-hmm.
but the cubes doesn't require to connect to your data warehouse. Once the cube is built, then it will act like your portable database. Right? The cube itself will have a data in it.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. It's
you no
already.
need to, yeah, you no need to
If you
connect to
have
the database.
if you have a big cube, uh, what's the big chance that it bomb out?
No, so the big cube, it depends on your operating system, right? So how much file size that your operating system allows you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That much only the cube can accommodate, because it's a file, right?
Right.
It's a MDC, multi-dimensional cube, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if your operating system allows 2 GB or 3 GB, your cube can have up to 3 GB.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
You got it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe that's the reason why it also bombs out.
Yeah,
Running
but
out of space.
what you need to do is you need to partition the data
Mm-hmm.
by time or by geography, and you can create multiple cubes for each so that the data will be minimized, right? And you can use the multiple cubes. You will have a cube group concept in the transformer, so you can handle the huge volume of data with that cube groups.
Mm-hmm. But the space, when you do that, partition it by by cubes.
Yeah,
It won't.
when you partition the data by cube within the cube, right? What Cognos will do is it will take care to create a virtual cube after reaching the maximum limit. So, for
No.
example, if the one cube reached a maximum limit 3 GB, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it will virtually create a one more cube inside in the installation directory, and it will start using that space
Oh, okay.
like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, continue.
All right. So these models, what we will do is in the framework manager, for example, you have a data warehouse. So data warehouse contains the tables and dimension tables and fact tables. So we will bring them into the framework manager. We will import it using import utility. We will create a joins, establishing relationship between them, and we will reorganize the objects like columns, or we will create a custom calculation which is required for the user, right? And we will organize them better, and we will create a, a view which is more readable, more informative, so that everyone, a layman also can understand the naming convention of those objects. So like that we will do the modeling, right? And we will also take care about the security. We will also take care about the performance within the framework manager, and we will create a relational as well as the DMR models. And once the model is ready, we will create a package.
Okay.
A package contains the models, right? It can be a relational model, it can be a DMR model, or it can contain both, right? But that package will have a model.
Mm-hmm.
So a Cognos web-based components requires a package. So Cognos Framework Manager will publish that package to the Cognos server, right? And these web-based components will fetch that uh, Cognos package, and it will allows the user to create the reports based on that package,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Right.
any question on this window-based component?
No.
And your transformer will also falls in this window-based category, component category. I didn't depict that, but transformer is also a window-based component. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Window-based component in the sense you will access them from start from your computer, start programs, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Web-based component means you can access them through your through browser like Internet Explorer or Firefox.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So once the package is ready, now you can use the studios to create the reports. Now we'll discuss about the web-based components. So Cognos can be accessed right through browser. So you need to have a URL, and Cognos admin will provide you how you can access that Cognos. So once you hit the URL, so there is a entry point portal called Cognos Connection. This is the place where you can access all your reports and the tools which will be used for creating reports. All right. So Cognos Connection is the entry point portal, and from there you can launch all the studios which required for specific purpose. So Query Studio that will be used for ad hoc reporting. Ad hoc in the sense, for example, I don't have any reports to analyze my India and China few states data, right? I don't want entire states in China and all the states in India, but I want 2 states in China, 3 states in India. I want to analyze that information. So there are no reports available like that. So what a business user can do, right? So he has to wait till the report gets created, or if he know that how to use the tools, he can manually create it. So that is kind of ad hoc requirements, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got the idea just now to analyze the data for particular states, and you want to have a report right now. So in that kind of situation, there will be a usefulness for this kind of ad hoc tools like Query Studio. It will give you the feature on the fly. It will produce the results. So as and when the user drags the required information, it will give you the data on the fly.
It's good you're telling me this, but not seeing the software won't help me at all.
Perfect. Yeah, I think you said you have some idea on 8.4, right? 8.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But Cognos 10 might be different now. I used
No.
to.
Interface-wise, everything is same. It got additional tools and capabilities,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the
Yeah.
look colors and looker fields might be different, but everything, like I said, 80 to 85, 80 to 90%, the user interface looks like same, except a different color combination. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So if you want to see the tool, I can show you. Just give me a few minutes. I will show you the tool, okay?
Okay.
And do you have any question on the ad hoc querying?
No.
All right. And there is a report studio, which is a professional authoring tool or software. So this will be used by all the developers. 90 to 95% of your development will happen using Report Studio. This is the masterpiece in Cognos BI,
Okay.
right? So you will have a lot of reports that you can create, from simple to most complex reports, and you can create multiple data sets and bring the data through multiple data sets.
And
right.
I have a question regarding using maps. Let's say you want to handle creating a report using US and different state. How do you correlate the data for each state to your displayed map of US? Are
See,
you are you
you will
using
have,
Excel sheet, or do you have another software that creates the data for each state? Let's say you want to know how many um, how many of your products were sold from different states. And when you hover your mouse, let's say on Virginia, I would see the, let's say, how much was sold for that certain product was sold for that state.
yeah, see,
I know Cognos has that, and was that any changes in from Cognos 8? It's still the same.
no, no, it's still the same.
Okay.
Right,
Uh,
and you have a visualization, right? For example, the look and feel of the maps, right, and integration of maps through various third-party, right, vendors. That feature has been enhanced, but basic core functionality is same.
um,
You got it? So the way you create a map, basic maps are same in both the version.
okay.
Excuse me. All right, there. So the Report Studio, as I said, it's a professional authoring tool. You can create a simple to most complex reports here, and you can create the reports which are more dynamic, like interactive. You can have an active report concept introduced in Cognos and in Report Studio, right? So where you can create MST format files which will contain the data and the interactive behaviors. So it tries to fill the gap between the running the report offline, so viewing the report offline and running the report online, right? So that's where the active report concept came in. So that got introduced as a feature in Cognos Report Studio, right? So you have more features enhanced in Report Studio, like you can use your own spreadsheet. If you have a data in the spreadsheet, you can include that spreadsheet data in your Report Studio report, and you can analyze along with your corporate information. So you can have a personalized data inclusion options in the Report Studio that got introduced in Cognos 10. All right, so with all the features, it became a most powerful tool, right, than most of the products available in the market in BI, right? And Analysis Studio. So this tool you can use for DMR models and cubes. You cannot analyze any relational models using Analysis Studio, but using Report Studio you can analyze both the models, right?
Okay.
And there is the Event Studio, which will be used to manage your reports and schedules based on certain events. You can use the Event Studio if you have a event, for example, for particular area sales. If it crosses 1 million or 2 millions, you want to send the report to the intended audience, then you can create events in the Event Studio and you can achieve that what you want. So that's Event Studio. There is a workspace that is newly added features, two tools in Cognos 10. You have a workspace and workspace advanced. Both tools are used for self-paced dashboarding. So whatever you have created in Analysis Studio, Event Studio, and Query Studio, the reports, so those things you can use in your workspace, and you can create your own dashboard. So this will be more focused for the users who has a minimum Cognos knowledge, right? So you don't need to depend on the developer. So you can, the users themselves, they can create dashboards. Okay, so to administer all the stuff that you are doing in Cognos, you need administration. So Cognos administration is again a web-based administration utility. You can administer your environment. Any questions?
Now, can you give me also a few hours on administration on the training?
Sorry, could you repeat your question?
Uh, can you also include few hours on administration of Cognos?
Yeah, sure. That we will discuss it once you confirm that you are okay with a demo. Then we will discuss on that what needs to be included. Okay.
Okay.
Any question on this slide?
No, everything's okay.
All right. So this is the high-level architecture. There is no difference in Cognos 8 and Cognos 10, right? I think you might have remembered this architecture. So it
Hey,
basically has a. Sorry?
You're not showing me your screen.
Oh, I am. Okay, okay. Can you?
I still have the, okay, there you go.
Okay, it has a three-tier architecture, right? So every software has an architecture, right? So Cognos also has a three-tier architecture. Each tier will have the various components. So those components are the web-based components, web server components, application components, and data tier components. So you as a user, right, using a web-based, web-based user interfaces or window-based user interfaces, and you will hit first the web server. So you can use IIS, or you can use Apache HTTP server, or you can use any other web server which is compatible, right? And first you need to hit this web server through a common gateway interface, right? So this will allows you to interact with your Cognos applications through a database called Cognos Content Store. So this Cognos Content Store will stores the information about the Cognos environment, like a Cognos metadata store. It is a Cognos metadata store. It contains all the environmental information, like the user and their passwords, whether they are the right user or not, they can be authenticated or not. So what access level they have, which reports they can access, right? What reports are available, what packages are available, when the scheduling needs to happen. All this metadata information available in this content store. So this content store will be available in the data tier in the architecture, but the user who is accessing this web-based or window-based components, they have to authenticate, right, through all these layers, right? So the web server will interact with the application tier component. Here you have IBM Cognos Content Manager. So that will basically validate the contents that user passes through the interfaces using the data that is stored in the content store. So this content manager is a service which can validate the content. If the user is available, then it sends back the response to the user interface. Okay, and the application tier component will also has another service called a dispatcher. So this dispatcher will initiate all the required services which are available within the Cognos. There are more than 20 to 30 services available, depends on the requirement. For example, if user running a report, then dispatcher will initialize the report service and presentation services like that. Right, so it depends on the task or the request came from the user interfaces. This dispatcher will start initialize those kind of service. If there is no need for the service to start, it will not use that service. That's how the architecture will optimize your service request, and it will utilize the resources. And in the data tier, we have a content store. As I said, this content store will be a heart of your Cognos. If this will resides on either Oracle, SQL Server, DB2 databases. If this is down, then your Cognos will not work. Okay, so that's all three tiers should be up. Either if a web server is down, your Cognos will not work. If your application server is down, then Cognos will not work. Your database server is down, then also your Cognos will not work. So all three should be up and running.
Server? What do you mean by web server?
For example, see, you have a Gmail, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Gmail, if you want to access Gmail through web, so you need to have that application hosted somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the web server will host your web-based components like Gmail.
Yeah.
So here also Cognos also requires a web server. So those web servers will host the Cognos web-based components like Studios, Cognos Connection, all those things.
mean, web server can be what? Apache or
Apache, HTTP you can use. You can use IaaS, Windows-based Windows IaaS. You can use
what's the common server they use?
What is that?
What's the common server they use? Web server they use?
It depends on the client, right? It is not depends on the Cognos, right? Cognos will provide you that scalability. So you can use a WebSphere, you can use Apache, you can use IaaS, right? But for our training purpose, we will use IaaS and Apache. Okay.
How about in the IBM Cognos server?
What is that?
The next year, TF2 application.
Yeah, it contains dispatcher and content manager services. I told you, right? The dispatcher will, initialize and ensure that a proper service should start and initialize, right? So the service which is not required for particular request, it will not start. That's how it will optimize. Right?
Okay.
And the content manager, for example, you are a user and you are trying to access your Cognos, your company's Cognos portal, right? So the user ID and the password that you are passing will come from gateway, and from gateway to web server to this application tier server, and then this content manager will validate the user information against the data stored in the content store. So IBM server, Cognos server contains two components: dispatcher and content manager services. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. And there is a data tier here. As I told you, content store, it will be there, and whatever the databases that you are using, they are falls under the data tier component, right? Like accessing your data warehouse, accessing your transactional system, or accessing your metric store. So those again depends on how you are accessing the data, where the data is available. So those databases also comes under data tier components, right? And the interaction between your application tier and data tier will happen through JDBC connection or APIs, or you can also use the ODBC connections, right?
Yeah.
So that's about architecture. Any question?
Why do you use JDBC all the time?
See, it's a web-based portal, right?
Is this
So,
a Java-based program?
sorry? No, it's JDBC is a bridge between your Cognos and the database.
Mm-hmm.
Say, SQL and Oracle are separate softwares, right?
Yeah.
Cognos is a separate software,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you want to exchange the data between these two heterogeneous softwares, you need to have a bridge between these two, right? The
So
middle layer.
why don't you use ODBC?
You can, that's what I'm saying,
Mm, okay.
right? So you can create ODBC connections in your computer and you can use it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But when you are working remotely, right, you got it, right? So you will, pass the data or transfer the data through the JDBC most of the time,
Oh, okay.
right? Any question?
I thought JDBC only uses Java and.
Yeah, it's correct. You are right. Java only, but you can use ODBC also using Cognos.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and these are the stuff Cognos which we discussed. The Cognos 10 has a unified workspace. You can see this screen, right? These reports looks like a dashboard, but these individual reports might be built in either Query Studio, Report Studio, or Analysis Studio, and they brought together, and it will be organized as a dashboard. And you can have interactive features like filters in this. So this is a screen from Workspace. So you can get all the features and functionalities from your various reporting studios, and you can align them or bring them into one common
Oh.
screen. Okay, so we have a unified workspace which is having a cleaner look, so that we call it as a Cognos workspace. And the breadth of analysis, you can use Cognos for historical, real-time, and predictive information. You can use collaborative BI, right?
Collaborative BI. What do you mean by breadth of analytics? What's that?
See, you can have a data in the transactional system, like operational system, you can say, right? You will have a historical data, right, in the data warehouse.
Yeah.
And you will have unstructured data, right, which can be brought into the structured format, and you want to analyze you want to produce some predictions. Prediction in the sense, for example, take in a healthcare industry, right? So there will be a survey going on particular kind of diseases. For example, the survey conducted on 10 people and based on different aspects. Are you getting headache? Are you getting stomach pain? Are you getting fever? Are you getting, right, running nose, right? How frequent you are getting these kind of questions, right? If so, out of this data, they will predict some they will derive some predictions, and they will come across a common understanding based on the predicted data, saying that so due to the seasonal things, these kind of diseases are common. You got it?
Okay, I got it now.
Yeah, so that kind of capability also Cognos has it, but it is a Cognos capability. It is not Cognos BI capability, right? So you have various other tools to handle these predictions. Like you got it, right? So we have predictive analytic tools called SPSS, right? So that you can integrate with Cognos.
Okay.
And collaborative BI, the Cognos is IBM product. If you are using Lotus Notes, you can interact users and you can share your screen through your same time, right? And you can, collaboratively work on those reports and dashboards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And easy data inclusion, as I said, you can use your own personal data spreadsheets and you can call them using Report Studio and you can analyze against your corporate information.
Mm-hmm.
And analytics on the go, so you can access Cognos through your mobile devices. The performance is much better than the previous version. So Cognos 10 has in-memory processing engine. It has a DQM, dynamic query mode capability. So if you publish your packages through that mode, there will be a Java-based query engine which will improve the performance. But that is earlier it was restricted to DMRs and the MDX kind of scripting, but now it got extended to all relational relational packages as well. So the performance is much better than the earlier versions.
Okay.
And seamless upgrade as the tool, as and when the new